TV mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ ti ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́. Ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n. Eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. Decleard TV mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ ti ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́. Ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n. Eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. Àjànàkú kọjá mo rí nǹkan fèrè, bàbá rere káwí parí. BGI TV, we are the pace setter. Bàbá gbàgede ìmọ̀ tẹlifíṣọ̀n station tí dòde.
Mo kí gbogbo ojú tó wò mí káàkiri ayé, mo kí wa lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin lọ́mọdé lágbà nínú ilé yìí. Mo kí wa wípé a kú dédé àsìkò yìí, àsìkò bójú ọjọ́ ti rí. Ẹ̀dẹ̀ odò bí bó lójú ọjọ́ ti rí lọ́dọ̀ tí yín o, torí lọ́dọ̀ ti wa ó ti ń fẹ́ máa fẹ́ bí ọyẹ́ díẹ̀díẹ̀ ó ti ń gbá ríyẹ́ríyẹ́ díẹ̀díẹ̀, ó ti ń di ká máa kọ swẹ́tà mọ́mọ́ lọ́rùn báyìí. Àdúpẹ́ lónìí nǹkan kì í bẹ̀ o, ẹsẹ̀ ràgó. Yorùbá sọ pé nǹkan kì í síbẹ̀ ẹsẹ̀ ràgó. Ẹ wá nǹkan fìdílé tàbí kẹ́ fìdílé nǹkan, kẹ́ jẹ́ àjọ fetí gbéyàwó ọ̀rọ̀, kẹ́ jẹ́ àjọ ṣàṣàrò lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ. Mo sọ fún wa ní àná lórí pé àjẹbánu ló fà á, corruption ló fà á tó fi jẹ́ pé bí ìlú yìí ṣe rí yìí ó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ lónìí, despite gbogbo tí Nàìjíríà ní tá à ń pè ní ọrọ̀, pẹ̀lú gbogbo ọrọ̀ tá a ní, pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ náà ọmọ alákìísà, ọmọ aláṣọ wa ó ń wà kìísà náà ni. Kílé tó jẹ́ pé ọmọ ẹlẹ́ran wa ń jẹ egun. Kí ló fà á? Àsọ lánàá pé àjẹbánu tá à ń pè ní corruption ni. Now kò kí ń ṣe pé lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí ni nǹkan náà ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ rárá o. Kódà látìgbà tí wọ́n ti gbà sí Nàìjíríà fún wa báyìí ló ti jẹ́ pé díẹ̀ àṣìṣe yẹn ń wá látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn tá a pè lórí wa. Àwọn àṣìṣe yẹn wá ń parapọ̀ nígbà tó wá dodindi tán ó bẹ̀ sí ní kẹ̀ bí ìgbà pé kí bíléèdì kan yàyàn lọ́wọ́ tàbí kó yàyàn lẹ́sẹ̀. Ṣé mọ̀ pójú ọgbẹ́ bíléèdì kékeré ni ó jẹ́ kọ̀mpíà tó ojú ọgbẹ́ ọ̀bẹ. Ó kàn yá lọ́wọ́ ó kàn fílẹ̀. Ojú ọgbẹ́ yìí ń kẹnu sí tíntìntín, ó ń kẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀, kò mójútó. Gbogbo nǹkan ló ń wọbẹ̀, ó ń rí kò mójútó títí tójú ọgbẹ́ di ńlá, tí tẹ́tánọ́ọ̀sì wọbẹ̀. Ó ti fẹ́ ràn sọ́run tán kó tó wá rí pé kíní ti fà mójútó. Àmòdí tó ń ṣe yẹn, it will be as a result of ojú ọgbẹ́ yẹn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà lójú ọgbẹ́ Nàìjíríà ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀. Ìṣòwò olùkúmọkùmọ àjẹbánu ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀. Ìfẹ́ tọ́mọ ènìyàn dún ní ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀. Nígbà tó yá láyé Babangida, Fáláyè lòun gbé pọ́lísì kan dé, wọ́n pè ní SAP, Structural Adjustment Program. SAP pẹ̀lú major problem tí Nàìjíríà kọ́kọ́ ní. Nínú ẹ̀ ni wọ́n change owó sí, torí pé Fáláyè ní secretary sí gọ́fìmẹ̀ntì ìgbà náà. Wọ́n láwọn gbé pọ́lísì yẹn dé, SAP gọ́fìmẹ̀ntì náà gbà á. instead kó progress economy wa ó wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní retrogress ẹ̀, ó ń fẹ́ economy wa sẹ́yìn, ó ń fà sẹ́yìn, ó ń fà sẹ́yìn, ikùn wa ń jọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ń rẹ́rìn àmọ́ pé ohun tó ń dùn ní pa ni. Most of the problems tí Nàìjíríà nílé ní nǹkan méjì ló so contribute sí: government policy àti corruption. Àwọn policy mi wà táwọn previous government, successive government ti ṣe sẹ́yìn tó jẹ́ pé apanirun ni, apanirun. Policy yẹn pé àwọn kan aṣọ wọn dolówó lọ bìbà, ṣùgbọ́n aráàlú mẹ̀kúnnù tó kù àwọn yẹn a máa ké, wọn a máa sọ́fà. A wá gba àwọn alájẹbánu, àwọn tó wọ́n fẹ́ kówó ìlú náà, a wá gbà wọ́n láyè, á ṣílẹ̀kùn fún wọn láti rí owó yẹn jí kó. Oríṣiríṣiríṣi policy láti ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Èyí míì wà deliberate action ni. Ẹlòmíì tó gbé policy yẹn wá mọ̀ ni, ó mọ̀ pé ó máa ba ọrọ̀ ìlú jẹ́, ṣùgbọ́n kò sí tó kan òun, ṣáṣàmù rọ̀ṣọ̀mù bá po tiẹ̀ kò kí ẹ̀. Ǹjẹ́jẹ́ mọ̀ pé Yorùbá máa pòwe pé ìyẹn ogún ọdún ń gbóná, ìyẹn ogún ọdún wọ́n ní a sì máa gbóná. Mo rí newspaper lénìí tí wọ́n fi léde wípé bàbá wa láti Ondo tí wọ́n jẹ́ commissioner nígbà ayé tí wọ́n jẹ́ minister nígbà ayé Ọbásanjọ́, tó jẹ́ minister láti 1999 nígbà ayé Ọbásanjọ́ wọ 2007. Àríkà pé ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ẹgbà yẹn EFCC ṣẹ̀wá fi léde báyìí wípé àwọn declare àwọn wanted. Tani? Bàbá Chief Olóyè Olúagúnlóyè. Kódà kí n tó gbérò yìí jáde, torí tó bá tó dọ̀la á tún gbọ́ pé ròyìn ẹlẹ́jẹ̀ ni, kó tó wá di ròyìn ẹlẹ́jẹ̀ ló mú mi lọ mo search gbogbo, kódà mo tún lọ search fún lórí Google sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Mo lọ wo official Facebook page EFCC, mo bá bẹ́ẹ̀ wípé òótọ́ ni. Mo tún lọ wo official page mo tún lọ wo Instagram handle EFCC, wọ́n tún post ẹ̀ síbẹ̀, mo tún bá bẹ́ẹ̀ mo ní tó kò sí verification kankan tá a fẹ́ ṣe mọ́, á jẹ́ pé òótọ́ ni. Ká má tún kà jáde, kán má tún wá wípé ìròyìn ẹlẹ́jẹ̀ la gbé àfi ká lọ tọrọ dáríjìn, rárá mi ní fẹ́ kírú ẹ̀ tún ṣẹlẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ tá a lè rí ká má sọ, a lè rí ká mójú kú o, ojú kì í gbà. Nígbò jẹ́ wípé a ti gbaṣẹ́ ìgbélé gbọ́. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀ wò wá, a ní fẹ́ fún yín ní fake news, a ní fẹ́ fún yín lófo. Ló sì jẹ́ pé tá a bá rí báyìí, a fẹ́ ká gbé wá. Eléyìí tí mo fẹ́ kà yìí láti inú Opera Mini ló wà nínú Phoenix. Mo fẹ́ wo newspaper tí ó wà ní o kó tó di pé mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní kà jáde nítorí ọ̀la. Mo mọ̀ pé EFCC wọ́n allege bàbá yẹn, so tó bá jẹ́ allegation ni wọ́n sì fi kàn wọ́n, alleged ni o, so you should not hold us responsible for this news. Ntí lọ́yà mi ní kí n máa sọ nìyẹn, anytime I want to read out such news kí n máa sọ pé alleged ni o, that you should not hold us against this information. Now, EFCC declares former minister Olúagúnlóyè wanted over $6 billion fraud. $6 billion. nígbà ayé Ọbásanjọ́ 6 billion ẹjọ́ ló lárò pé at least owó yẹn ṣì value owó yẹn sì nígbà náà téèyàn kan bá ní 1 billion lọ́wọ́ 1 billion naira nígbà yẹn ọ̀dà a máa pàṣẹ ni o èlò wa ní gbogbo bọ́jẹ̀tì Nàìjíríà ń gbà yẹn ó dá mi lójú pé nígbà ayé Ọbásanjọ́ o bọ́jẹ̀tì wọ̀ trillion 100 of billions ló sì jẹ́ ńgbà náà nísìn àti wọ̀ trillion 27 trillion nísìn but nígbà yẹn àwọ̀ 1 trillion kẹ́nìkan wá rí $6 billion bọ́rọ̀ yẹn ṣe rí rèé. A former minister of power and steel, Shifolu Agunloye, has been declared wanted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) over alleged fraud. The anti-graft agency, in a post on its verified Facebook page, called on Nigerians who knows the whereabouts of Agunloye to report to the nearest police station or inform the EFCC. The EFCC stated Dr. U. Agunloye is wanted by the EFCC. If you know his whereabouts, please don't hesitate to inform the EFCC or the nearest police station. Nigeria News recalls that former President Olusegun Obasanjo accused Agunloye of mismanaging the power project during his tenure from 1999 to 2003 and failed to brief him on the state of the project. In an interview with the Cable recently, Obasanjo claims that Agunloye fraudulently awarded the contract for the power project without the approval of the Federal Executive Council. Obasanjo challenged Agunloye to tell Nigerians where he derived the authority to award a $6 billion contract to Sunrise Power and Transmission Limited in respect to the project in 2003. In his response, Agunloye said the nature of the initial contract for the Mambila Power Project, which was awarded as a build, operate and transfer contract in May 2003 under his watch. He said the government was not obliged to pay a kobo to Sunrise under the build, operate and transfer BOT agreement, as it was to be fully funded by the newly registered company, whose declared assets were worth less than $2,000 at the time. Agunloye was, however, silent on where and how he got authorization to commit the government to a $6 billion project when, according to Obasanjo, ministers could not approve more than 25 million naira when he was president. Èyí tí wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé wa ni pé nígbà tí bàbá yìí wà ní minister nígbà yẹn wọ́n award àwọn contract kan jáde because he was a minister for power and steel. Àwọn ni wọ́n wà ní in charge iná wa. Tabadẹ wo gbà tí iná Nàìjíríà bàjẹ́, ayé Ọbásanjọ́ ló bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ayé Ọbásanjọ́ ni wọ́n pa iná Nàìjíríà jẹ. Nítorí pé time yẹn ó ní wọ́n privatize NEPA, not so the power holding. And that one thanks to Atiku. He was the chairman of privatization committee then. Àwọn ni wọ́n privatize NEPA. Náà ṣe wá dẹni tó wà lókùnkùn dọ́là. Ọlọ́run má sọ wá sókùnkùn. Ẹnìkan jókì níjọ́ kan ó ní tí màláíkà bá wá Nàìjíríà tó bá dijọ́ gbé dàlkíám ó nígbà tí wọ́n bá ń pèpè ó lọ́mọ Nàìjíríà ò ní gbọ́. Ǹjẹ́ kí ló dé? Ó láriwo jẹnẹrétọ̀ ò ní jẹ́ kán gbọ́. Mo rẹ́rìn ó jẹ́rìn ni kì í ṣẹ̀rìn. Gbogbo ìlú òyìnbó tẹ́ ẹ bá dé pátá ẹ sọ fún mi bí tẹ́ ti rí tán ti ń lo generator bọ́n ṣe ń lò ó sí ní Nàìjíríà. We call ourselves giant of Africa. Kò sí stable power supply, and that is the major determinant of development. Do you know why? Nítorí wípé tí iná bá wà tó constant, tí security dẹ̀ wà, ẹ gbàgbé tó kù. Iṣẹ́ máa wà yanturu, because most especially àwọn small scale businesses, wọ́n succeed, wọ́n survive. Kò ní sí tó kàn wọ́n pẹ̀lú petrol. The petrol problem will be left with àwọn tó ń lo mọ́tò nìkan àbáwọn tó ní nǹkan ọ̀gùn. But now the power supply totally epileptic, ìyẹn tó bá tiẹ̀ wà rárá, àìmọye àwọn ibòmíì tí ó sì rárá. Àwọn ibi tó wà náà erratically ni, kò ní sí constantly, totally epileptic ni. Ìjọ kó dákú lẹ́nìí kó yọ lọ́la, bí náà ń bá dẹ̀ òde náà kí mi máa wò bí pẹ̀tàn torchlight ni, pé ká bí pẹ̀tàn torch báyìí, bí light tó ń jáde látẹnu torch ló máa jáde. Ìmí ẹni ìdíkẹ́ lọ lo stab kó tó gbé àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ ń lo gadget tá ń lò nulẹ̀. The light has been bastardized. Ní ìgbà yẹn tí náà yẹn wà òkè, àwọn tó ní small scale businesses bíi barber, bíi tailor, bíi hairdressers, àtàwọn tó depend lórí electric láti fi power àwọn nǹkan tó ń lò, you see them flourishing because they wouldn't need to budget money for petroleum to their generator anymore. Wọn kì í náwó sórí jẹ́ ibi mélòó gan náà ti ní jẹ́ nígbà tó jẹ́ kí iná tó lọ, kẹ́ tó pé NEPA ẹ̀ ti múná lọ láàrin ìṣẹ́jú 5 iná tún ti dé padà, á tún gbọ́ up NEPA. But all of a sudden we just discovered that in terms of energy, everything just starts going down and going down and going down and going down till it went down finally, and àgbọn kankan mọ́. To our dismay, àgbọ́ pé àwọn power holding ni wọ́n tà fún àwọn yẹn náà yà hold power. Dọ́là iná yóò balance, bí ká lo iná tí ò ju ìjọ méjì ìjọ mẹ́ta lọ láàrin oṣù. Nígbà táwọn companies bá máa àwọn tí wọ́n tà fún káàkiri, irú àwa ń sìn táwa lò l'Abẹ́òkúta under Ìbàdàn distribution company láwà IBD, àwọn míì náà wà ní under Enugu, àwọn míì náà wà lọ́dà Benin, àwọn káàkiri àwọn kan wà lọ́dà Lagos. Bọ́n ṣe pín náà yẹn nìyẹn. Ìmọ̀ràn yẹn náà bá máa dẹ̀ gbé wá, wọ́n á gbé bíìlì tẹ́ẹ̀lì iná tẹ́ẹ̀lì consume tán in the next 1 year, wọ́n á gbé wá lóṣù kan, wọ́n á lówó tẹ́ẹ̀ lò nìyẹn. You have no choice, you have to pay it. Àfi tán bá tí ì bí ilẹ̀ kò wá sí kóòtù tẹ́ fẹ́ gbé wọn lọ, wọ́n máa jàre. Ẹ̀wùjọ́ tó ti ń pariwo, wọ́n pè ní crazy bills. The worst part yẹn ni pé ńjọ́ mi funny enough, ìjọ oṣù tẹ́ bá rí náà lò yẹn gan lọ́ máa gbé iná, lọ́ máa gbé bíìlì láwá. Oṣù tẹ́ rí náà lò lọ́ máa gbé bíìlì láwá. Èèyàn bá lè gbé wá náà lẹ gbọ́dọ̀ san. Wọ́n ń contest ẹ̀. Èmi náà àfi àwọn tó free làwọn ní prepaid. Prepaid wọ́n mọ̀ intentionally wọ́n jò kárí. Ńgbọ́n dẹ̀ máa tún gbé kan dé, wọ́n ti fast track prepaid yẹn. Tó bá ti lóòdù 10,000 lénìí kò lè lọ́sẹ̀ kan jálẹ̀, á ti máa pariwo pín àfikún tó lọ upload mi. Èmi bá tún máa ṣe míì náà, ó máa padà kù sí iye kan náà tí wọ́n ń gbé fáwọn tí wọ́n lo postpaid tí wọ́n lo prepaid. Á padà kù sí iye kan náà. So those guys knows what they are doing. Láyé Olúàgùn lóyè as minister, wọ́n disrupt everything. Ọ̀nà wa sọ́nsìn ní Efcc wa sọ pé that man should come out now láti wá jẹ́jọ́. Báwo náà ṣe ná $6 billion kì í tiẹ̀ tún ṣe náírà. contract tó award síta without the consent of the federal government. ká lè mọ bí tí ìṣubú Nàìjíríà ti ń bọ̀ orí Ọbásanjọ́ kọ́ o, orí ẹnìkan kọ́ o. tí omi bá ń kán sójú kan tó bá kán sójú kan tó bá kán sójú kan tó bá yá á padà nípa ipa tó ní là ń rí níbi tó wà tí wọ́n ń jí díẹ̀díẹ̀ tí wọ́n ń jí díẹ̀díẹ̀ tí wọ́n ń jí díẹ̀díẹ̀ before you know it effect jíjí díẹ̀díẹ̀ yẹn ló dá tó dá ilé ní effect jíjí díẹ̀díẹ̀ yẹn òun ló padà dá tó dá lé ní. And I often said it, and I'm stand to be corrected, that oríṣi èèyàn méjì náà làwọn tí wọ́n bà Nàìjíríà yìí jẹ́, the elite and the military. Báwo ló ṣe kan military náà ti rúlu wa rí, ṣebí military làbáṣà trillion làbáṣà kó nígbà ayé tiẹ̀ tí ò ń ṣe tó jẹ́ pé 1 billion nígbà ayé Abacha ẹni bá ní 1 billion ó lè ra gbogbo Nàìjíríà pa lòun kó trillion. Ìlú òyìnbó tó dẹ̀ ń kó lọ àwọn yẹn ẹ̀kọ́ rẹ̀ jẹ́ because the implication of what that man was doing or any other person tó bá jówó kó implication of what they are doing is that they are intentionally ruined knowingly or unknowingly ruin our own economy. Ìlú tí wọ́n bá wá kó lọ wọ́n fi owó yẹn lọ fi build economy tiwọn because there will be enough fund láti yá àwọn would be investors ní country wọn tí wọ́n máa yá owó yẹn tó máa invest bóyá in terms of long term loans or short term loans. There will be loans that will be readily available for them to borrow. Situation tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé surplus wà àwọn economics ló lè yé àwọn nǹkan tí mò ń sọ yìí mo ṣe tíntínní nínú course mi school, so that is what we call mo gbàgbé nínú course yẹn the flow of money bó ṣe move from àwọn tí wọ́n save marginal propensity to save tó bá ti high marginal propensity to invest máa low ní nínú graph yẹn. Situation tó jẹ́ pé everybody ló decide láti máa invest savings máa low tí savings bá dẹ̀ ti ń low tó jẹ́ pé investment ló ń grow sí economy ìlú yẹn máa rise torí pé ó máa determine per capita income of that country most especially tó bá jẹ́ investment yẹn wà lórí àwọn capital product àwọn tó yẹ pé product tí wọ́n lè export jáde cash inflow and outflow ó máa determine ẹ̀ because goods tiwa commodities wa tá à ń produce nílùú wa ó máa jáde síta á dẹ̀ máa fi kó foreign currency wọlé lẹ́yìn petroleum kí ló tún kó foreign currency wọlé mọ́ Nàìjíríà. Gone are those days tí government ní enough money láti finance àwọn agriculture wa àwọn farmers wa tí government rówó ra equipment fún wọn àwọn fertilizers tí wọ́n rà fún wọn tó jẹ́ pé they are producing in large numbers to the extent that there is enough for us to consume in the country and there was enough then for them to export out and bring in foreign cash. So per capita income rise. Ohun tó ń pè ní development ìlú nìyẹn. Ẹ wo Dubai. Kí ni rate of exportation wọn? A lot. Gbogbo yín lẹ máa kówó ìlú yín wá. Torí pé ó ti di tourist center. Àìmọye America tó ń lọ bẹ̀ tán kó dollars wá. Àìmọye ọmọ Europe tó ń lọ bẹ̀ tán kó pound sterling lọ bẹ̀ tán lọ fi wo àwọn nǹkan táwọn ènìyàn create. They don't care about petroleum. They don't care about agriculture, but they spend all their energies on tourism. In terms of tourist country, lẹ́nìí Dubai will be number 1. That's why they are ready to spend all their life on it, and they are gaining it. Do you know why it pays them? Ó ń pay wọn torí wípé wọ́n ní àwọn tó wà patriotic as the administrator of those tourist centers. Gbogbo wọn tó administrate, gbogbo wọn náà wà patriotic sílùú. Whatever amount tó ń pa, it is going directly to the purse of the country. Kò lọ sí individual purse. Tí Nàìjíríà bá dánrú ẹ̀ wò, orí Olúmọ lábẹ́òkúta, ìbáwọn kan ló ń sọ èlò ní gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì pa wọlé lé lórí. A lot of resource centers ta ní káàkiri, ìbáwọn kan ló ń sọ èlò gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì pa. Adẹ̀ ní Ministry of Tourism kan wá ṣàlàyé iye tá ń pa wọlé. So owó tí wọ́n jí kókó Nàìjíríà wọ́n lọ fẹ́ develop economy country míì ni. Gbogbo countries tí wọ́n kó owó yẹn lọ, àwọn yẹn máa encourage ẹ sáà máa kó wá, ẹ máa kó wá, àwọn máa gbà sáwọn banks. Àwọn banks wọ́n ní enough liquidity, wọ́n ní enough cash láti máa yá àwọn èèyàn very short term loan àbí long term loan. Ẹ lọ establish, ẹ má worry, ẹ wá yáwó, owó wà lẹ̀. Àwọn àpàǹkóbọ̀ gbogbo àwọn tó láwọn dáwọ́ Abacha padà ìwọ́n ń tàn wá ni. Owó Abacha gangan sì wà ní account wọn, but rate of turnover owó yẹn ló yẹ kí wọ́n béèrè pé owó yìí for how long ló ti wà ní account yín. Yí àbáyé l'Abacha kò síbẹ̀. Èló lẹ̀ ń gbà lé lórí tẹ́ bá fi ṣe loan síta, àti capital yẹn àtèrè yẹn ló yẹ ká gbà kú òǹbẹ̀ bẹ̀tì rárá. Ohun táwọn yẹn ṣe ni pé wọ́n á ti lo owó yẹn, wọ́n á ti fi pawó dáadáa, wọ́n á wá mú nínú èrè tí wọ́n jẹ, wọ́n á sọ fún Nàìjíríà pé a ti dá owó Abacha padà o. Ó fẹ́ lè má sí gọ́fìmẹ̀ntì látàyè Tinubu, látàyè Ọbásanjọ́, ó fẹ́ lè má sí, kò sí gọ́fìmẹ̀ntì tó dé tí ò gbowó Abacha. Owó tó jí kó pamọ́. And tábà tó sì wà ní àwọn míì náà tí wọ́n fi ara wé, ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ rí báṣìírí ṣe ń tú. Gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣe yìí ó ló ba ìlú ìjẹ́ débi pé àwọn èèyàn jápa. Olùwé sọ fún gbogbo wa pé no, kì í ṣe time Tinubu yìí ló ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ó bọ̀ lásìkò Tinubu yìí ni. Wọ́n ti ń ṣe bọ̀ tipẹ́. Ní wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ ọjọ́ yẹn pé olè ló mẹ́sẹ̀ olè tọ̀ lórí àpáta. Tinubu has been in the system since 1992. He has been in the system since 1992 because he was senator 1993. So multi-footed ọdún ọmọ báwọn ṣe jọ ń ṣe. I'm not exonerating him. Òun náà wà nù wọn. So let every one of them come together. Let him coordinate the others. They should return our money. Kọ́ ṣàánú mẹ̀kúnnù Nàìjíríà. Kọ́ ṣàánú tọmọdé tàgbà Nàìjíríà. Ibi tí wọ́n kó àwọn owó ìpamọ́ sí, they should go and retrieve them back to Nigeria. If they can do that successfully, ẹ fún Nigeria ní 2 years. Believe you me sincerely, this country a máa dé pace setters for others. A máa di mirror to others máa wò báyìí. Bí ìgbà pé ayé Awólọ́wọ̀ ní Western region. You know, during the era of that man, we created a lot of world record. The first TV, the first free air services, the first TV station, the first in Africa. Àwọn kan wà in the world. Just a section of Nigeria, just Western region. Nítorí pé wọ́n develop agriculture. And where is the agriculture today? Lẹ́yìn Ondo, ibo la tó lè fọ́ búmọ̀ pọ́n tó ń gbé kòkó. níbo tún ni kòkó wà mọ́. Àwọn nǹkan tí ó pa Nàìjíríà totally, and I said it that Tinubu met a sinking ship. The ship was even about to sink. It was about to sink rather. Kó tó di gbódé gbogbo tó ṣe yìí ó kàn try láti mú láti mast tó kù ó ti kàn yọrí síta kó dá ẹjẹ́ ń náà. Although he was part of the game, he has been the part of the game since 1993. And that is why I've been saying it that let's give him a chance. If he said he wants to do it, ẹ jẹ́ ó ṣe kárí. Ẹyẹ tó lóhùn mẹ́yọ bọ̀ lápò, a ní dúdú ní àbí pupa, ẹ jẹ́ ó sì mú jáde náà kárí. But we shouldn't do that by criticizing him. As a Yoruba man, we Yoruba supposed to be encouraging him so that he will be encouraged to bring back our money from those guys. He knows them. They are friends. He's with them. He knows every nooks and crannies of the whole cabals. He has their list. He knows them. It too belongs to them at a time. Now, if he said he was promising us a renewed hope, now let him bring him that hope. Let us see. And that is what I've been saying all the while. He built most of them. Most of them, he built them politically. He brought most of them to limelight. And let him cop them. Let us see. It is then Nigeria can have, there will be solution in this country. Otherwise, let everybody goes on their own separately. And that is where me I stand. His failure will determine the existence of his performance will determine the existence of Nigeria. That is where I stand. Tinubu's performance at the end of 8 years or 4 years will determine the existence of this country. That's why I don't believe in criticizing him now. No. Ẹ jẹ́ kó ṣe gbogbo tó fẹ́ ṣe. Ẹ jẹ́ kó jó gbogbo jó tó fẹ́ jó. Ká fọwọ́ lẹ́rán ká máa wò. Ibi tó ti yẹ ká encourage ká máa encourage pé go on bí ìgbà pọ̀ ọmọ tó sá 1500 meters. Tó wá sá 400 meters ẹ̀kan ṣo tó ti rẹ̀. Ẹ bá máa encourage ni ó yá let's go others are coming let's go. Àwọn nǹkan yẹn a máa fún ní energy láti máa tún sáré mọ́. Let him do it, let us see. But kó máa ka criticism bí lórí newspaper kó máa gbọ́ news long criticism we will be discouraged. These guys are still hiding our money all over the world and in different nooks and crannies of this country. And they are not ready to invest those money. Wọn ò ready láti invest ẹ̀. Káti ẹ̀ wá ní bọ́n ṣe ń kó yẹn èmi ò bínú pé èèyàn kó. But kí wọ́n fi ṣe kó ní kálukú máa fi dáṣẹ́ sílẹ̀. Tí n bá kí 1 billion kó kí ni mo lè dálẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà kẹ́ invest 1 billion yẹn sí Nàìjíríà. Kó jẹ́ pé gbogbo àwọn ọmọ tó wà níbi tí mo invest ẹ̀ sí yẹn kí wọ́n wà kán gain full employment. Kó jẹ́ pé àwọn la máa gbà kán wà fully employed. Kélé náà jí 20 billion kó wò pé níbi tí mo wà yìí iṣẹ́ wo ni mo lè dá sílẹ̀ tó máa wà within the cover of that 20 billion bàtà làwọn fẹ́ máa ṣe tá a máa kó lọ sílùú òyìnbó. Fine, ẹ lo 20 billion yẹn ẹ fi dá iléeṣẹ́ bàtà sílẹ̀. Àwọn ọmọ tó graduate ẹ gbà wọ́n síbẹ̀. Àwọn tó HND ND ẹ gbà wọ́n as casual staff. Àwọn agbálẹ̀ wọ́n fọ abọ́ wọ́n ṣe kíní kan ẹgbàá ọmọ kéékèèké síbẹ̀ kan máa ṣe everybody máa dunnú lọlé. Tábà máa fi rí èèyàn 1000 ní gbogbo àwọn tó jí bílíọ̀n wá kó tó bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ do you think anybody àjápa? Rárá o. And in tí wọ́n manufacture yẹn tí wọ́n rí export tó fi kó dollars wọlé sí Nàìjíríà ó máa fọ́ láìpẹ́. Àkọ́tún rí pé Naira goes back to that level tó wà nígbà 70s. Kò sí nǹkan tó jẹ́ kí Naira wà ń bẹ́ẹ̀ gbà yẹn torí pé à export ni. Nígbà tèmi wà ní primary school nínú history wa a ṣe cash crop exportation, a ṣe àwọn feeding àwọn oríṣiríṣi crops that you can export, a ṣe oríṣiríṣi crops tán lè gbé within the confine of Nigeria tá a dẹ̀ lè jẹ fún consumption. A ṣe types of farming tó wà, peasant farming, mechanized farming, kìnní kan farming. Àwọn tó máa ṣe mechanized làwọn tó máa export jáde ṣerú ẹ̀ wà mọ́. Ẹni mélòó ló export mọ́? Mo fídíò kan lẹ́nu tí bọ̀bọ̀ yíbo kan ṣe, I come from Baltimore, I come from Baltimore, yóò kàn mọ ọ̀rọ̀ sọ́ọ̀tì ẹ̀ ni gbogbo tó ń sọ ẹ̀bọ́n ṣe ń ṣe Amẹ́ríkà ló rò pé òun wà, kò mọ̀ pé system ọ̀hún yóò bá bí mu. But the man spoke, he spoke out his mind. He thought everything was okay in this country as it is okay in America tóun ti ń bọ̀. He was calling on governors. Ṣebí wọ́n ní wọ́n fún yín 5 billion the money you collected kọ́yá come and give me inside, come and give me, this is the farm I made. Mo kàn rẹ́rìn pé kí ló ṣe máa yìí Nàìjíríà ló wà, kò yẹ ẹni Baltimore kọ́ ló wà l'Amẹ́ríkà. And what that man was saying bó ṣe yẹ kó rí nìyẹn normal. Kí wọ́n ṣe àwọn nǹkan tó máa fi encourage àwọn àgbẹ̀. In fact Awolowo went to the extent of wípé ó ní board fáwọn àgbẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan, pàápàá jùlọ in tó fi ṣe cash crop which is cocoa. Ó ní àwọn board, cocoa board. Ọbásanjọ́ ló dàrú gbà tó dé. Àwọn cocoa board yẹn àwọn ni wọ́n máa lọ báwọn àgbẹ̀ yẹn mójútó láti gbígbìn. Gbogbo problems táwọn àgbẹ̀ yẹn bá ní àwọn yẹn ni wọ́n máa bá wọn mójútó. Wọ́n láwọn quarantine, àwọn náà máa bá wọn quarantine kòkó yẹn. Okay, wọ́n need the fumigation, wọ́n need kinní kan. Ni wọ́n ṣe dáwọn ewé jẹ́ yẹn sílẹ̀. Ó dá àwọn institute kéréje ewé jẹ́ là ń pè tAbẹ́òkúta, àwọn Institute of Agricultural Research. Ó dá wọn lẹ̀ káàkiri. NIRS bí nǹkan ní tìbàdàn jẹ́, wọ́n dá gbogbo wọn sílẹ̀ real research. Wọ́n dá wọn nǹkan yẹn sílẹ̀ nítorí agriculture. Ṣọ́ wá wúlò mọ́, ṣọ́ wọ́n function mọ́. Petrol wá ń pẹ̀ tí wà mọ́lẹ̀ báyìí. Petrol determines everything. And look at what is happening. Nigeria àwa trillionaire, àwa ń rágó kiri, àwọn ọmọ wa wá káàkiri ìlú òyìnbó. Wọ́n wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ slave trade ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì. Tẹ́lẹ̀ ìṣá wa jẹ́ polished slave trade. Slavery ni kódà kan máa gba 10 million. Energy tó ń lò wọ́n fún wọn yẹn láwọn ìlú òyìnbó yẹn, tí wọ́n bá lo the same energy fún wọn Nàìjíríà bí báyìí, tí wọ́n dẹ̀ gba benefit tó ń gbà lọ́rùn yẹn tó ń rí gbà ń bí, ṣé Nàìjíríà ò ní develop ni? Àwọn wo ló ní brain bí àwọn tó wà lóò òyìnbó yẹn? Wọ́n wá lo gbogbo IQ wọn, wọ́n lo gbogbo technology tí wọ́n mọ̀ ń pa ẹ̀ because they have it at hand. Wọ́n lò fi develop ìlú onílùú. Ẹ kó tiẹ̀ kí àwọn tó wà UK. Tax yìí náà ni àwọn yẹn dẹ̀ gbọ́n. Lóòótọ́ wọ́n sanwó fún wọn, bẹ̀tọ́ ti dúró dè wọ́n bí tax tí wọ́n ti máa gba owó yẹn lọ́wọ́ wọn. Ẹ kàn gbọ́ pé wọ́n ń gbowó ńlá ni. Ó máa ń yè mí lẹ́nu gan báwọn tó wà UK ṣíṣe máa ń rí owó mú délé. Because tax is not, US not the same thing. The tax is just too much, it's too alarming. Wọ́n dẹ̀ mọ̀ tán ṣe nǹkan fi develop ìlú wọn nìyẹn. Bí ó bá tẹ́ ẹ lọ́rùn go station wọ́n ò pè ẹ pé kó wá lu àwọn. Ìwọ ló wá ló fẹ́ pawó. Bó wá ṣe wá ń pawó yẹn àwọn ti ní tán máa já kúrò ńbẹ̀. Nàìjíríà láti kí ẹ lórí tax. Ọmọ wọn ni tax. Bó bá fi ṣeré tó evade the tax. In fact I think it's a capital offence pàápàá ní country wọn láti evade tax. Mo sáré tí wọ́n arrest àwọn footballers lórí pé wọ́n evade tax. Ẹnìkan ṣo lóṣù lọ́dún ẹlòmíì san tax tó worth millions of dollars tax. Yes. So àwọn nǹkan tá a ti lùsì pọ̀ nílùú àwọn ibi tá a ti bàjẹ́ pọ̀ táwọn tọ́jú ẹ̀já àwọn alájẹbánu yìí náà ni. If you get to their account, each one of them ní owó wa tó mí gbìn nínú account wọn tí wọn lè ná tán in the next 100 years. Ìmí máa fi sáyé lẹ́nu wọn ni. Mímọ́ lórí Áfíríkà kan tó kú lẹ́nujọ́ mẹ́ta yìí trailer ni wọ́n lọ fi kó dollars jáde nulẹ̀ ẹ̀. Former prime minister wọn country náà tó jẹ́ trailers not one trailer àwọn trailer yẹn tó báyìí ni ìtàn fi kó gold ọ̀tọ̀ ìtàn fi kó gold coin ọ̀tọ̀ ìtàn fi kó dollars ọ̀tọ̀ kí ló dé àwa sọ pé we are developing countries. When are we going to stop, most especially Nigeria, when are we going to stop stealing Nigerian money, taxpayers money to abroad? And when are they going to start in America? When are they going to start stealing their own dollars and come and be saving them in Nigerian banks? When are they going to start that? I am still waiting for that good day. Táwọn politician wọn l'Amẹ́ríkà máa jí owó wọn kó lọ́hùn tó máa wá save dollars wọn síbí kán máa rí káwa máa rí fi ṣe business. You can see how full we are in this country. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń jó wa kó tẹ́ bá ń wò mí. Foolish act tẹ́ ń ṣe nìyẹn o. I don't against you people for stealing our money, but I'm begging of you, invest those money in this country. Don't export it out more. Ẹni bá gbé 20 billion nínú yín, good luck. Tí Efcc ò bá ti rí mú, no problem. But then invest ẹ̀ sí bíbá. Look at Dangote now. Bó tẹ̀ tí kò jẹ́ pé exploitation wà lọ́wọ́ tiẹ̀, but notwithstanding, he's still the #1 labour employer in the whole Africa. Even in the whole Africa. Mọ iye àwọn graduate wa tí Dangote ń bá wa gbà. Níta ní kẹ́yìn náà ṣe nìyẹn. Ẹ wá business kan kẹ́ ẹ dálẹ̀. Ṣúgà lẹ́yìn fẹ́ máa ṣe ní o, bàtà lẹ fẹ́ máa ṣe ní o, mọ́tò part mọ́tò lẹ fẹ́ máa ṣe ní o. Ẹ lọ àwọn ilẹ̀ àwọn Yíbò yẹn. Èèyàn kan ní Nosan, mọ iye ní máa wà ní Nosan company tó ń ṣe mọ́tò. Ẹnìkan náà tún ṣe engine oil. Oríṣiríṣi àwọn oil yẹn ètò ṣe power steering ó ń ṣe engine oil ó ń ṣe oríṣiríṣi gear oil company yẹn náà wà lẹ̀ Yíbò. Ẹ dálẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà lẹ̀ Yorùbá, ẹ dálẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà lẹ̀ Haúsá, ẹ dálẹ̀ káàkiri. Táwọn graduate wa bá ń graduate báyìí kó jẹ́ pé factory ti pọ̀ rẹpẹtẹ tó máa ṣiṣẹ́, ẹ má wọrí pé owó wa ni ẹ ṣáà jí kó. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe jí kó yẹn máa invest ẹ̀ padà sí Nàìjíríà. In tó yẹ kó jẹ́ ti gbogbo wa Nàìjíríà ẹjọ́ jẹ́ ti yín nìkan ẹ̀yin àtọ́lọ́run nìyẹn. But ẹ fi dáṣẹ́ lẹ̀ káwọn èèyàn oríṣẹ́ yẹn fi ṣe. Ṣé rí ìlú òyìnbó tẹ́ ń kó lọ yẹn àwọn aráàlú òyìnbó rí fi invest ó la ọmọ wa ṣe ń sá lọ bẹ̀ lọ sí wọn. Gbogbo tútọ́ ń pa lórí petrol. Àwọn banks wọ́n ṣe meeting kan láìpẹ́ yìí wọ́n wá pé former the dethroned governor Kano Ọba Kano, the former central bank governor Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. Wallahi, Nigeria still need that man. We still need his brain. Mo dẹ̀ rọ̀ bàbá Tinubu pé kí wọ́n wo Sanusi dáadáa. It should give him something pertaining to economy of this country. Let him participate in your economic system. I am too sure this man can turn round the hand of the time. Ẹgbọ́n kan tí Sanusi sọ, mo ń bọ̀.
The CME, we still have to pay back that money. And we have to address the fundamental question. Why is there no money coming in? Why is NMPC not able to bring in dollars? I'm sorry, this is the question that cost me my job. I will continue asking this question until NMPC is fixed or until I die. Where are the dollars? We need to shine light on NMPC. The finance minister cannot tell you, because he doesn't have a metering system that reports to him. The finance minister cannot tell you that today, this is how many barrels of oil that we produce and exported. He can only rely on NMPC telling him. Those barrels are revenue. They belong to finance. We've been talking about this for 10 years. We need a metering system. The finance ministry needs to know how much oil we are producing every day, how much oil we are selling, and where the money is going. Because if you don't fix the leakages in that system, if you don't fix the revenue, the dollar revenue issue, you will never fix the exchange rate problem. Oil is not going to grow our GDP. I've always said that. Oil, I mean, if you took out all the oil in Nigeria today and sold it, it would raise our per capita income to maybe $4,000. We won't even be a middle income country. Oil will never make us rich, but it is working capital. It is working capital. It is a lubricant for our import-dependent economy. And we cannot afford to continue producing the oil and not seeing the revenue. We are no longer paying subsidies. So where are the dollars? Before it was under recovery. Now we don't have under recovery. Where is the money? It was the issue I raised for which I was suspended. You can suspend me again. Okay? But it is an issue that this country must address. NMPC is the most opaque oil company in the world. When I was in the central bank for 15 years, they had not been audited. So, you know, the central bank is easy to attack. But the central bank does not manufacture dollars. It's not an exporter. It produces naira. It can buy dollars. It can create an environment for dollars to come in. It can bank dollars for government, but it does not produce dollars. And you want to have stability in the exchange rate? You've got to go back to those issues we raised in 2014. You need to follow the money. And I'm glad the CME is here. This is the number one priority. They follow the money from production to exports to return. Where is the money going? Now, there are things that are not NMPC's fault, but things that could have been done better. We're producing a lot of our crude oil offshore. Deep offshore production, PSC agreements mean we get only 40% of that. It was 20% before. So if you produce 1 million barrels deep offshore, you get only 400,000 barrels. We could increase the onshore production. But what have we done? The IOEs went out and we signed all these SAAs with our cronies and our friends. We need to review. Those who are producing onshore oil, where we have the highest, these are wells that have been in production for 7 decades. They are mature fields. At this time, you need international oil companies, not Shell, not Exxon. You've got medium-sized IOCs operating in places like Gabon, in places like Latin America, in places like Asia. Get them to come and maximize the output from those fields, because that is where the government has the highest revenue stake. We can't just have Shell step out and then I take my friend Mustafa Chikiobi and co, who has never been in oil production, and then give him the license and say, come and produce oil, and expect to get revenue. We need to revoke those things and give people who can bring in the technology and the skills to sweat those, because you need to have a long-term solution to this problem. Plus other structural changes, moving to alternative energy. CNG vehicles would save you 60% on PMS. Convert 3 million vehicles and see what happens to inflation. See what happens to your foreign reserves. So I get worried because while the central bank certainly has done a lot of things wrong in the last 8 years, there has been so much attention on the CBN, and we are not looking at other people who may have even done worse. We paid 11 trillion naira in fuel subsidy. There's no accountability up to now. The National Assembly called NMPC to bring the documents. They refused. And by the way, let me advise that this idea of the president being petroleum minister is not a good idea. The last president was Minister of Petroleum for 8 years. When I was governor of Central Bank, we had a petroleum minister. So when I talked about NMPC, I could attack Dizani. Now nobody can talk about petroleum because 8 years, if you talk, you're attacking the president. We need that buffer. Somebody has to be there. So a minister has to be there who is held accountable by Nigerians. I say this because if we're talking about banking, if we're talking about the banking system, if we're talking about the economy, we've got to look at all these linkages. And this excess focus on banks, on regulation, and all that, it's important, but we also have to look at transparency and regulation in other areas. Okay, so what are the risks that you run today? As the central bank tightens money, please look at your portfolios. My fear is that if a bank is going to go down at this time, it will not be credit risk, but it could be market risk. And we need to have a stress test on the banking industry. And this is where the directors come in. We need to have stress tests and a conversation between the central bank and the directors. And the purpose of these tests is not to punish anybody or investigate anybody. It is to understand which banks are at risk and what steps need to be taken to protect them in the event of a shock. If you've had years of lose money, I know up to a few weeks ago, I don't know those of you in the market, Treasury bill rates were 3%, right? Bond rates were very low. How much of those low yielding assets are banks holding, and what is the value of those assets now that interest rates have gone up? And if you need to sell them off.
Arákùnrin ìbọ 11 trillion naira la ná tẹ́lẹ̀ sórí subsidy. From that 11 trillion naira, ṣé mọye billions tó ti wà lápò àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan nígbà yẹn. Mo ti sọ láìmọye ìgbà ń bí níbi tẹ́nìkan ti sọ pé my friend told me that president should stop subsidy because he was tired of stealing money. Those 11 trillion were going to some people's pockets. 11 trillion tí wọ́n san gbà yẹn as subsidy. Ó lọ sí àpò àwọn kan ni. It got to a stage láyé Goodluck Jonathan. Ordinary vessels, they use it to collect subsidy from Nigerian government. Epo tó ń gbé wọlé rárá, wọ́n dẹ̀ gba subsidy ẹ̀, wọ́n kó sápò. Kì í ṣe nìkan ló ń ṣe o. Ranging from petroleum minister to NMPC, officials NMPC, some governors, and other cabals in Aso Rock. Wọ́n tó jọ ń pín nìyẹn. 11 trillion every year. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ń gbà bẹ́ẹ̀. wọ́n gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ di ìgbà Buhari yìí ni. It is only this one that came that say no. Ìyá ẹ̀ dẹ̀ ń jẹ wá for him to say no. Àmọ́yé ìyá ẹ̀ tá ti jẹ. Petrol 7,000 tẹ́lẹ̀ kí á ló fò lọ 17, 30, 50,000 now. Tí ó bá tẹ̀ ní lọ́kì tó bá ríra lẹ́ NMPC ni. Tó bá ríra lẹ́ NMPC wàá máa lo bí 60 something thousand rà. Because it has increased by 150%. 100 àbí 650%. Wọ́n ta nǹkan ní 1 kìíní kan tẹ́lẹ̀ ó fò lọ 600 and kìíní kan. So 600%. So àwọn cabals wa ni kí wọ́n láàánú Nàìjíríà. And I still repeat it. The failure of this government will mark the dissolution of Nigeria. Quote me anywhere. Tí Nigeria ò bá get it right nísìn lásìkò Tinubu yìí ẹ gbàgbé ẹ̀. So that is why I'm calling on this current government that they should try and cross all T's and dot all I's. Otherwise, forget it. It's either we take it now or we break it now. Because Nigerians are tired of the same stories every time, every day. Nigerians are tired of paying tax for the service not being rendered to them. Nigerians are tired of being denied of enjoying their taxes being paid out. Nigerians are tired. That is why táwọn tó wà nílùú òyìnbó fi wá ṣẹlẹ́yà. So we need to get it right. All our cabals, they should try to turn a new leaf, although I know they will never, because they are not ready. Because they want to be more even richer than God himself. If it is possible, they can compete with God. That is where they are going now. You already have trillion in your account, yet you are still stealing. Kilo koye, what for compete? Maybe that is what they're trying to do now. Maybe that is what they want to achieve. You have billions of dollars sitting in your coffers, only you, and you don't even fear God. Ṣé bí wọ́n sọ pé ọmọ kì í bá pèlè yẹ kó ṣaṣọdá, àwọn tí wọ́n ti kú tẹ́lẹ̀ tán ti kówó yẹn tán ti lọ, rí gbogbo wọn ni kí ló padà gbẹ̀yìn wọn. Chairman gbogbo ẹ̀ tó kówó, Chairman Abacha, níbo náà wà sí? Six grave. Where is he? Ó ti kú tipẹ́. Since 98, ó ti lọ. Kí ló wá dé tá a sọ lé ayé dà wá lọ? Tó bá máa gbélé ó ti gbé billions. Tó bá máa gbọ́ ẹ̀ tí ẹ̀ wá gbé $1 million mọ́, $1 billion nísìn. When are we going to get there? When are we going to make it? When are we going to say adúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́run o, káwa náà jẹun tán ká máa fi toothpick táyín? Nítorí wá ń bà mí nú jẹ́ ni pé most of these people, all of them are going out of this country. Wọ́n rí nǹkan mèremère tó ń enjoy níbẹ̀, but kò freak wọn pé káwọn wá ṣe síbí. That is why I always love Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State. Gbogbo àti Fashola wà ní governor ní Lagos State, èmi náà wà Dubai. Mo ríṣẹ́ tí bàbá yẹn wá ṣe sẹ́kọ̀ọ́, blue rail tí wọ́n wá ṣe ń gbà yẹn, overhead rail yẹn. Fashola started it. Thank God, Abode kọ́ ló parí ẹ̀ ní àbí bàbá yìí tó wà ń bẹ̀ sí. But Fashola started the idea. He saw it from Dubai and he's transforming it. He was transforming it to Lagos. Ìgbà tí mo rí mo ní metro ni bàbá yìí fẹ́ ṣe síbí, exactly kò yàtọ̀. Underground ni metro station wà. Okay, ó ní overhead bridge, ó ní ẹ máa ti rí tí metro train ti máa rìn. But metro station wà underground ní ti Dubai. Dubai ló ní àwọn other countries náà ti ń copy ẹ̀ náà ti ń copy làwọn náà ti ń ṣe. Àwọn arábí yìí lọ sílùú òyìnbó kiri, wọn ò lè wo sample bẹ́ẹ̀ tí ẹ lè ṣe kó dáa tó yẹn. Kí ló dé tẹ́ lè wo àwọn samples ẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ wá transform ẹ̀ sí bí? Rárá o, àpò tí wọ́n náà ń dùn, báwo ni ilé tí wọ́n ṣe máa dùn, báwo làpò wọ́n ṣe máa kún. And the funnest part is we are still revolving around the same set of people. Mo sọ lánàá pé káti ẹ̀rù olóṣèlú kan kó kàn wo sáìdì, kó kàn gbójú kó fáwọn olóṣèlú yẹn ni, kó kàn lọ yan àwọn professionals ni. Wọ́n ní jó lọ́dún kan lórí oyè, wọ́n ló betray àwọn. Ẹ̀ ń wò jẹ́ kán tó gbàpò tí àwọn olóṣèlú ti máa ṣùgbà wọn. Owó wa tó kó pamọ́ wọ́n á ti máa fi finance olóṣèlú yẹn torí tó bá débẹ̀ kó fi wọ́n ṣe minister. We are still singing the same song. And I believe we cannot be doing the same thing every time. And for all, we want to see different results. Rather, we continue seeing the same results. And that is why I talk a lot of things called pé ẹjẹ́ á pín. Pínpín yẹn náà, àwọn tá a jọ máa pín náà, ẹ̀bá àwọn arábí náà ni. Bí Yorùbá pín lẹ́nìí, ṣégún ló fẹ́ wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. Àwọn olówó àjọ lórí, kì í ṣe àwọn ṣáàmánù náà ni. Àwọn náà máa padà jọ lórí bí Yorùbá pín. Torí pé kì í ṣe tribe ló ń da Nàìjíríà rú, cabals ló ń jẹ Nàìjíríà run. Kì í ṣe tribe. Ó kàn wá jẹ́ pé situation tó jẹ́ pé ìran kan fẹ́ máa jẹ gàba lórí ìran kan ni mi nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí. Ìyẹn gan ni mo support àwọn tó sọ pa fẹ́ pín. Ìyẹn gangan ló mú mi support wọn. Bó kàn rán kí ológìnì kó ṣe akápò ẹkùn, wọ́n á yàmọ̀ ṣọdẹ wọn lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀. Bó kàn rán kí Fúlàní máa dominate wa, kọ́ máa ṣe bí ìpá wọn lọ̀gá wa, ó bẹ́tẹ̀ fi Yorùbá lẹ̀ jẹ́ kí Yorùbá máa lọ. And that is why I support the so-called Yorùbá nation. Ọ̀tí tí Fúlàní bá mọ̀ wọn ara wọn, ọ̀gá wa làwọn eléyìí, àbí àwọn eléyìí náà they are existing, of which I know they will never do. Gbogbo tí wọ́n ṣe, wọ́n dẹran wá, wọ́n ń gbàbọn, wọ́n ń gbébọn, wọ́n ń gbowó lọ́wọ́ àwọn èèyàn, ọgbọ́n àti claim territory wa ni tó fẹ́ ṣe. That is why tí Yorùbá fi yarí. Ìbókànràn kẹ́ ẹ pa wá kẹ́ ẹ gbalẹ̀ wá nígbà, áyàmọ̀ pín lára yín ẹ máa bá ti yín lọ ni. That is why people are saying that. Mo sọ pé this present government, their refusal to get it right this time may mark the dissolution of this country. So that is why this government must get it right this time for the betterment of that country called Nigeria. I rest my case.
BGI TV yìí mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́, ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n, eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. BGI TV mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́, ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n, eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. Àjànàkú kọjá mo rí nǹkan fèrè, bàbá rere káwí parí. BGI TV, we are the pace setter. Bàbá gbàgede ìmọ̀ tẹlifíṣọ̀n station tí dòde.